Self-image. That's the most important thing in the world, is how you feel about yourself. And actually the strange thing about it is that nothing in this world will improve your self-image. Only you can do that. I read a book years ago, and it was about had to do with a plastic surgeon. And it was years ago, so plastic surgeons mostly did surgery to correct deficiencies or defects in people. And he noticed that when he would, remove a scar or a birthmark, or he fix a cleft lip or a split lip or a cleft palate, that the individual immediately seemed to have a better self-image of themselves. They were happier. They thought more things about themselves. And so he wrote a book about that, about how important self-image is, and it is important. Now, in our society, we get our self-image from a lot of things. If we're rich, why, that tends to make us feel real good. We've got lots of money, and people look up to us, and maybe we're powerful, the head of a company or something of that nature. So we have a better self-image than someone who is works at a minimum wage job. And this is not true. This is not really true. That's not. It's not where you get your self-image. I see people at the ballparks, and they're all painted up, and they're screaming, and they're yelling for their team. And if their team loses, they're depressed. They just lost their self-image. But if their team wins, they're happy. And all of these things are just tools. Money and prestige and all these things, they're just tools that we use. They are not builders of our self-image. I remember going to school with a guy that he seemed like he had it all. He was always the one that was the head of the class. He made the best grades. He come out the valedictorian, and he gave these great speeches, and a year later he committed suicide. It wasn't because he was broke, because he didn't like himself. People who don't like themselves don't do well in society. People who hate themselves sometimes try to kill themselves, or they try to kill other people. And that's sad, because it's all built on self-image. If you felt real good about yourself, you'd feel real good about other people. That's the way it works. How you feel about yourself is a lot to do with how you feel about others. Doctors, lawyers, they have the same problem as the people in the minimum wage jobs. They don't automatically get a perfect self-image because they're a doctor. I mean, they're not immune to feeling bad about themselves or even committing suicide. And they have the same emotions and everything that anybody else does. So something outside you that is in this world will never, you can't hold on to it to have a good self-image, because your money may be lost, your good looks may go away as you get older, your ability to write or to think or to work at a high-priced job, that'll go away. Everything will go away eventually, as far as this body is concerned. So self-image is much greater than much beyond this body. It's beyond this body. We are spiritual beings, and we are a spirit that is inhabiting this body, which is kind of like a spacesuit, so that we can live here in this physical life. So those people that learn about who they really are, which is that spiritual being, are people that do have good self-images. They're not afraid of life. They're not afraid of death because they know they're eternal. They are eternal, and life goes on, and their projects will go on. They're not hurried or rushed through life. They don't take pills to speed themselves up or to go to sleep at night because they don't need them. And the truth of the matter is that everyone's spirit is created in the same image as the Creator. We all have that same spirit. We're all eternal. We're all perfect inside. Our spirits are all perfect. We have the same abilities as anyone else in the spiritual form. And once you really, really understand that, why, you're going to be amazed at how better your self-image in life really is. Now, I'm not talking about religion here. I'm talking about spirituality. If you go to church and they tell you that, if you don't do this and you don't do that, why, you're going to spend your days in hell, well, that's not true. We all go to the same place when we die. We all go back in the spirit world. We come from the spirit world into the physical, and when our bodies are through here, when we no longer do, we go back into the spiritual world, just like everyone else does. That's guaranteed. So there's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, if the world should crash and burn today, so what? It just come a little earlier than you thought it would. You're going to go back into the spirit world where you will find love and appreciation and comfort and compassion and all those wonderful things. So in the spirit world, in the physical world, don't compete with other people. Don't make money your goal in life. Help other people. Help them do their thing, and help them, and you will be helped accordingly. I don't know how many will really understand this, because the world totally thinks different than the spiritual being does. But what I'm telling you is true. The only way you're going to find happiness, the only way you're going to find peace, the only way you're going to find the real you, the calmness and the self and what you really are, is by understanding that you are spiritual and reading spiritual literature, probably near-death experiences and things like that. That will help. So I hope you got something out of this. Thank you.